We had Ronnie Bell look like Debo Light. You guys will find out all about the 49ers game right after this.
Let's go get him. Let's go get him today, man. Let's go. Hey, dominate on three. 1, 2, 3. Dominate.
Welcome back to another show of Clutch Gene Sports. I'm here with my man Josh Harper, former NFL player, Fresno State legend. How's it going, my man?
What up? What up? What's going on, Mario? Doing good. Time to talk some ball, man. Nice little preseason win.
It's always good. I don't care what people say. I love to win games, even if it's preseason. I hate losing. It was interesting, right? How things got started. So we'll go. So what we'll do is we'll go offense, and then we'll go defense, and we'll go from QB1, like everyone who played with them, and then we'll go to QB2 and QB3, make it easier. But we definitely got to see Brock Purdy come in. Great to see him come back. A lot of people didn't think, including myself, I didn't think he was going to be back until season opener or end of the preseason. Luckily for him, he was able to um, recover a lot faster than anticipated. Um, and it looked good to see Kyle Shanahan run his offense with him. Talk to me about what you saw from Brock Purdy.
Man, so from Brock Purdy, we saw what he did last year, right? He was able to distribute the ball, get the ball into the playmakers' hands. And my main thing is I just wanted to see him look healthy and comfortable. He's coming off a big injury, in his elbow. So that was my main thing. I wanted to see him come in healthy, make the right throws. He was making the right reads. Shanahan did a good job of, getting him out the pocket early, getting some easy throws. But all in all, the offense looked like it was just flowing, right? So that's a big plus, big positive for the Niners. And the one offense just drove down the field with ease. So shout out to the number one offense.
Yeah, I love what Kyle Shanahan did, especially getting them quick, easy passes, right? Like your first game back, you might have the jitter, especially coming back from a UCL injury like that. Get some quick pass to Debo in the flat. Debo picks up like 25 yards. Comes back, um, run play, goes back to Debo for another like 15, 20 yards. And then he does another boot action. And what I love about the boot action is this is something we saw from Brock Purdy that I was like, whoa, that was impressive. So it was to Jawan Jennings. He had Brandon Ayuk open in the flat. Instead of going to the flat, he actually skipped the shorter route and went to the intermediate route. Nice pass play to Jawan Jennings. Picked up about, I believe, 15 to 20 yards. And that's something I was like, well, I was impressed. I was like, he layered it over a defender, put it on Jennings, let Jennings go up and get it. Drove the ball down the field. Now, when we got into the red zone, everyone was during training camp was like, oh my God, Brock Purdy, phenomenal in the red zone, phenomenal in the red zone. He hits Brandon Ayuk on a quick slant in the deep red zone, gets us to like the 5 yard line roughly. And then from there, our offense kind of stalled. Like I was expecting a touchdown. Like once you get that far with the 49ers offense, you're like, okay, touchdowns coming. Like
Right.
it's inevitable. But then on one of his pass plays, scrambles out, gets sacked, and on another one he took off running. I thought he had the ability to and this is something I noticed about Brock, and I want to see if you notice the same thing. When he's scrambling or he's running, he's looking to run, not to throw at times. And I felt like he could have still looked to throw, set his feet and fired to Jennings and had a touchdown. I felt like he could have did that. I didn't mind him scrambling. Um, but that's the difference on scrambling to run versus scrambling to continue a play and then take off last second. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So going back to that rollout to the left where he hit Jennings, that was a dime, and that was
Oh
that
yeah.
was good. That was good to see from Brock. But back to the red zone. So I thought he missed two touchdowns. And
Okay.
the one that Juice could have been, hit or miss touchdown. Maybe Juice catches it and immediately breaks a tackle, or they're stopped short. But the one that he missed in front of him to Jennings. I felt like that should have been an easy, pitch and catch touchdown. Jennings was literally in front of him. But like you said, I think once Purdy had his mind made up to run, he wasn't thinking anything other than trying to go run the ball into the end zone. But yeah, I feel like with Purdy, he does a good job when scrambling. He sometimes when he's scrambling to throw the ball, but I think his mind is usually made up. So when he's scrambling, it's either he's scrambling to run or he's scrambling to set his feet again and try to look downfield. And I think in that instance, he was definitely scrambling to run to the end for a touchdown. And I'm not sure if his mind was made up because he was so close to the end zone. But he definitely could have hit. I believe it was Jennings who was wide open in front of him for a touchdown.
Yeah, it was great to see. First drive, moved offense down the field. Um, I thought he did have a couple good throws. I thought that Jennings throw was phenomenal, like I said, and that Ayuk throw was on the money. I'm on a slant. Um, Kyle did come out and say he will play the starters on Friday against the Chargers in the final preseason game. I was kind of shocked by that, especially with the quick turnaround. I like it though. I think Brock Purdy needs the reps. I'm not saying he played bad or didn't do well. I thought he played really well. But I still see something that worried me last season. The rollout to the left, felt pressure right away, goes to the left. I would prefer you step up into the pocket, big boy it, and throw the ball. Now, I understand with UCL injury, that might be the case on why he decided to roll left on that play where he missed Jennings. I'm just curious on how defensive coaches, because the preseason game 3, you will see a little bit more. And I'm curious on how you think game planning. I think it's more of a dress rehearsal, so you kind of have more of a game plan. Am I right on that, or is that more so? Because I know you were with the Raiders for a little bit. So is that how preseason 3 games or dress rehearsal games go? You guys actually do kind of game plan a bit?
Yeah, so we preseason 3 is the dress rehearsal. So from Monday all the way into game day, you're treating it like an actual game week. And yes, the coaches do put a little bit more in to game planning and actually playing the starters. But I'm curious to see how different will it be now since there is only 3 games. So I'm curious. Different teams will do different things. I know Kansas City played their starters about 2 or 3 possessions yesterday, so I doubt that they'll play them, preseason 3. But that's what it sounds like the Niners are about to do. Preseason 3, he said the starters are going to play again. I think it's a dress rehearsal. I think he'll put more into game planning, and like I said, he's going to treat this like an actual game. So. And again, I think the Niners' first offense needs it, especially with Brock coming off of that injury. You want him to be as prepared as can be, going into a tough Steelers environment, and that I think they're gonna be bringing it. So I think it's good for the starters to play again Friday, even though it is a short week. But I think they need it.
Absolutely, I think they need it. It's going to be a very good battle. We get to see Justin Herbert a little bit. Hopefully, the Chargers let him play. That's a player that I always love enjoying to just watch him as a quarterback. Right after Brock Purdy, we see Sam Darnold. Right, Sam Darnold comes in after Brock Purdy's first possession, 3 and out. What did you see on Sam Darnold in terms of moving the ball? Because it didn't look like he moved the ball very well until that touchdown drive that he had.
Yeah, so it was crazy. Like the numbers didn't look bad for Sam Darnold, but like as watching the game, it just the offense wasn't flowing. They weren't moving the ball. I want to say they had 2 straight or 3 straight
Mm-hmm.
3 and outs. So yeah, and I mean you expect for a veteran quarterback of his stature who has he does have arm talent, right? And he has played in the NFL for some time. 55 starts, 54, 55 starts under his belt. You expect him to get his guys going and move the ball down the field versus some I believe it was some ones and mainly 2s in there. So yeah, I just the offense wasn't flowing. I mean, he did have a bad drop interception though from Ronnie Bell. But all in all, I think he did what Sam Darnold does, and that's nothing special. Not to put him down or anything, but he just didn't show anything special. He showed that he's a quarterback who's played a lot. He looks comfortable in there, and he does have some arm talent. So I just didn't see anything special in there from Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I thought it was very curious on Sam Darnold's end because his first 3 possessions was 3 and out, and I believe it was like another 3 and out or like a 5-play drive, and then they got off the field. But for me, I thought Sam Darnold was the first couple of drives when he was with the start. He was mixed in with Colt McKivitz. I did see Jawan Jennings in there, a couple other players that are starters on the 49ers roster, and he seemed to struggle. And I was very like, whoa, I was kind of shocked by all that. I was expecting him with some of the starters to move the ball down the field, score a touchdown. I was like, okay, let's get it going. He struggled. He missed a wide open touchdown to Conley. Conley was wide open, and when you have that kind of arm talent, you're expecting a touchdown on that one. Like you're as Kyle Shanahan said, this quarterback has the most talent of throwing of the football, and he might be the next Steve Young for us. Like those are his words. Like I'm not including anything else, but it's like when you have the arm talent to do that, you gotta hit that. It's a layup. Like it's literally a layup for you as a quarterback when you're that good, when your arm is that talented. I thought I was very curious on Kyle Shanahan's end, especially because we were told kind of like, okay, it's gonna be Brock and then Sam, and then at halftime Trey's coming in, or right after halftime Trey's coming in. So like everyone was expecting, and then you get 2 drives, and I think the first drive of that series was because Brock got that first drive, so Kyle wanted to give him that extra drive. If I had to take a wild guess on why he got the second one, where he finally led that touchdown drive, I'd have to say it's because of Ronnie Bell's drop pass interception. Kyle was probably like, you know what? We were moving the ball pretty decent on that drive. We had there was a 2 plays where the offense looked kind of smooth. Maybe why he got that last drive ended up being a touchdown drive. He capped it off to a touchdown pass to, I believe, fullback Jack Coletto, an 11-yard boot, naked boot, was wide open. But I felt like Sam Darnold's best pass of the day actually came on a play that was called back. I don't know if you remember, but it was I believe it was to Jawan Jennings. Back foot, in route, back foot, pressure in his face, delivered it. I thought that was a beautiful pass. Is there anything else from Sam Darnold that you're seeing, or was like, all right, this is for sure QB2 going into the season?
So no, that was. I mean, hey, I'm not taking that away from him. That was a beautiful pass. He had pressure in his face, and he showed the arm talent right there, right? Like you could see it. But other than that, that was it. He missed the throw to Conley wide open on the deep ball, severely underthrown. And then he had some good passes where blitz was in his face and he hit the right blitz beater and things like that. But you expect that from a veteran quarterback, right? In preseason, there's no pressure on him at all whatsoever. But like I said, I didn't see anything special from Darnold. You expect for a quarterback with a lot of arm talent who has played a lot in this league to show you something, right? To put together multiple drives for a touchdown, or at least scoring drives, field goal, in the field goal. But he hasn't. I think he's only had one scoring drive here in the preseason. And I mean, I'm not to say it's all on him, but at the end of the day, it is. He has to get his guys going and make the right reads, make the right throws, and just be special. So yeah, I didn't see a quarterback who solidified himself as the QB2, other than him being the second quarterback to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought that was being the second QB to play was more so planned rather than him being the better quarterback during camp. For me, what I thought was interesting was I thought he struggled against the blitz, actually. There was a few times where a free runner's coming, doesn't know where the hot route is, takes a sack. There was another time where blitz was coming, and I was like, okay, you could see the blitz. Like the linebackers weren't disguising shit. Like they were walking up to the line of scrimmage, planting their foot there. Like, by the way, I'm coming. You're not seeing ghosts. That's me coming, right? Like It was very obvious, and there's one time where I'm like, all right, blitz is coming, get the ball out quick. Who's your hot read? Get it out.
Mm.
Um, for some reason, he held onto the ball and took the sack, and I believe he had, uh, I believe Jordan Mason played majority of yesterday's game. And I believe it was Jordan Mason in the flat where I think he could have got the ball out to. And for me, I think that was you can't if you see the free runner, what spot is he? What zone is he coming from? Because if
Right.
he's coming, that's your hot. Miss Jordan Mason. Both of his sacks, I thought were on him. A lot of the pressures that I saw from Sam Darnold, unfortunately, there was a team that I counted at least. I haven't watched the film yet, but when I go back to watch it, I know for sure there was 2 sacks that I counted on him. And for me, it's like, okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did with Trey Lance last week and everyone else did. You got to get the ball out quicker. Be faster. I'm going to hold you to the same standard we're holding every quarterback. Just because you're Kyle's next Steve Young, I'm not going to baby. Like, that's just how I see it. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole about it or anything, but it just feels like the way things went, I felt like he could have played much better. Trey Lance comes in with like a minute and 30 left in the third quarter. Everyone on social media, right? Everyone. Oh, the 49ers don't believe in this guy. Like, during the game, they're tweeting. I'm like, wow. Like, they're like, why is he coming in so late? Comes in. Walk me through the up and down. Well, the down and then up a day for Trey Lance.
Yeah. So Trey, I mean, yeah, he started. I mean, I'll say he started off rough. He had that tip pick, which was a great play by the defensive lineman. He tipped it up in the air. His teammate was able to come in and intercept the ball. But I mean, I'm not making no excuses for Trey. You can't make that mistake. You can't do it. That could be detrimental to a team's success and things like that. But that comes with him being a young quarterback, not having many reps under his belt. And the more preseason games he plays in, I think those type of plays will be eliminated, right? Then he comes in the next drive. What was that? The drive where did did they punt that drive, or I think you're muted.
Who?
Oh, there we go.
I believe the next drive they did punt.
Okay.
But it was like a holding call that he got called back on one of his runs. So I think they did punt the next drive, and then right after that,
that's when you start to see him get a rhythm. I know he had a pass over the middle that might have been a second drive though that almost could have been picked. Again, with time and with reps, those type of plays will be eliminated. But then, yeah, like you said, he comes back. He's fitting it in tight spaces. He's making the right reads. He's beating blitzes. And he's just looking good, right? And then he hits the seam to Latu, which thankfully Latu caught the ball. He looked left and then he scanned all the way right for everybody who says that he can't read defenses and he can't go past his first read. He starts on his left, scans right, it was a wobbly pass, but it got there, right? I'm not too into the passes being wobbly or whatnot, but the pass got there. It was a beautiful play. They scored. He gets the ball back with, I forget how much time left, but maybe like 2 minutes, maybe a little under 2 minutes, for a game-winning drive. He had, again, some nice throws to Ronnie Bell, some blitz beaters, check downs. Ronnie Bell also did help out.
absolutely.
We'll probably talk about him later. He run after the catch, and that's what the Niners are built off of, right? Getting the ball to the players, letting them make the run after the catch. So no, Trey Lance, he, like you said, he started here, but he ended up on a very high note, and it's really encouraging for quarterback. And he hasn't played much football. He hasn't played much football in the past 3 years, so it's really encouraging to see signs from him, right? People forget, people hold him to a standard of pick 3 without, like, he's a project. We have to continue to understand that. I know it's year 3, but he has some setbacks. We have our QB1 right now, so we're not expecting him to be a superstar right now. We just want to see progress and for him to continue to grow as a player, continue to show on the field that he can be a special quarterback, right? So I don't get why the fans on Twitter and even the commentators on the game are holding him to a way higher standard than they are Sam Darnold, right? But all of that's like he played good to finish the game. He played really good to finish the game, and he hit some really good throws. So I was proud of his performance.
Yeah, so I had to look it up real quick. So it was a interception, like a 45-yard drive for a field goal, and
Okay,
then
yeah.
the touchdown, and then the game-winning drive. So he
So
had
he
four
had
drives.
three successful drives out of four, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's come on, that's putting
It,
points on the board.
absolutely, and the thing is that I thought was crazy was on that interception. The reason why I'm gonna jot this down on experience is because when you are taking the pressure on a screen, you're supposed to accept it, right?
Mhm.
Like you're supposed to back it up, accept it, to dump it off, sidearm it. He felt all the pressure coming that he was gonna get hit,
Mhm.
and I felt like that's when he was like, I gotta get it out. When you're running a screen, 99% of the time the coach tells you let yourself get hit.
Mhm.
Like let you have in order for this screen to fully work, let yourself get hit. That's how in order for you to run it, that's how it kind of works. Like you got to invite the pressure to dump it off. Um, some of his best throws, man, were freaking lasers. The one to Willie Snead over the middle, that was a freaking
Blitz beater,
laser.
blitz beater.
Blitz beater. Like, that was, to me, I was like, wow. Um, hey, shout out to Cameron Latu, man.
Mhm.
Trey might have saved his job on the 49ers. Like, giving him an easy catch on third and long. It was like 3rd and 13 after a holding call. Picked up the first down. Cameron Latu kind of like ran back to the huddle. Like, I think I got my swagger back.
Rejuvenated.
Yeah, like he came. I was like, okay, like um, the touchdown pass to Cameron Latu, wide ass open.
Mhm.
You can't miss those. Didn't miss. You
Didn't
give it
miss.
to you. And that's the thing that Sam Darnold did earlier in the game. He had a similar, I would say a similar pass, but it was on the outside rather than the seam.
Mhm.
He missed. So when I'm like, okay, well, Trey capitalized. I like it. I love seeing Brandon Ayuk run onto the field and get the flag. I don't care. It's preseason. They'll celebrate with
Mhm.
your team. I thought that was cool. Like how the team was so pumped for Latu and Trey Lance.
Mhm.
The thing that blew my mind away is after I went back and looked at everything, I'm like, okay, 173 yards in about a quarter. So 15 minutes in one quarter and like a minute of another quarter. That to
Yeah.
me was insane. Like I was like, whoa, wait, you had almost 200 yards in a. Kyle, why are we not
Mhm.
playing? What if we would have played him, called this kind of game plan? Like I thought it was a very well balanced game plan.
Mhm.
Last week when he started in that half, he had about 120 yards. He would have had 200 plus yards. Like what it to me, what also caught my attention was after the game, he gets asked a question. It looked like things slowed down for you. He said, absolutely. Every time I touch the field, I practice, things are slowing down.
Mhm.
I'm learning every single rep. Like this kid just needs reps. And I'm gonna ask
Mhm.
you a question because I would hate for him to go to another team and be some superstar after he developed. But should the 49ers trade him?
All right. Should the 40? Okay, no, they shouldn't trade him at all. So here's how I see it. Whatever team trades, he's going to be the number two quarterback in weights of him, getting better, progressing. He's going to be the quarterback two wherever he goes right now, right? So why not be the quarterback two for the 49ers? We have our QB1 in Brock Purdy. Um, we know the history of with the 49ers quarterbacks. Why not just keep Trey Lance, watch him grow as a QB2 next preseason. Continue to give him preseason game reps because he's not going to get the regular season game reps. Continue to groom him, and see what you have. If Brock Purdy is the next Joe Montana or whatever, then we can possibly look into trading him and getting some of that compensation back, which it won't be anywhere near what we got him for. But then why not get some of the compensation back? Maybe a fourth, hopefully a third. But no, now is not the time to trade Trey Lance, and I definitely think the Niners should definitely keep him.
I 100% agree with you. And the reason why I say that I agree with you is, one, the situation with quarterbacks, whether one goes down, he might be the next guy to go. But the reason why you don't trade him now is because it's been so long since the preseason, you kind of screw him in a way. He has to go learn an offense. Like you said, he's not going to play for a good while until he has that offense mastered. And the main reason you don't is we still don't know what Brock Purdy is. It's only been 7 games. So if he becomes, I hope Brock succeeds. I don't want anyone to take it the wrong way. But if Brock Purdy turns into the 7th rounder that he is, the next guy you're throwing the ball to go in is not Sam Darnold. Like, I love that Sam Darnold's on this team, but you don't just go, hey, Sam, you're next. No. Hey, I drafted you. Let's see what I have in you. You've shown me something in preseason. Let's see what it is. That would be the next guy you go to, not Sam Darnold. So for me, that's why I don't trade him. I just had to ask it because right now, this is probably the highest his stock has been in a while. Like, what he did last night, teams are probably like, whoa, hold up. Those are some NFL throws right there. That was some beautiful quarterback play, and it did look like he had the quarterback instinct when his mother picked him out of the crib.
Right.
Like, let's be real. Like, all the shit that people were in. To me, the reason why I take it like a certain way with Trey is because the way the media has responded with him. It's like, hey, okay, you're taking shots that are hella unnecessary. Like, let's keep it football.
And on ESPN, they showed a clip. Only one. This is a dude who had a game who scored 3 out of 4 drives of last night's preseason game. ESPN showed one clip, and it was a clip of the interception. And then the dude on ESPN had the nerve to say, the numbers look good, but Trey Lance did not have a good game whatsoever, right? And he scored, and he led 3 out of 4 scoring drives. That's just that sums up how the media feel about him, or how they're trying to portray him to be this sorry quarterback. Let's not forget that Trey Lance is still one of the youngest quarterbacks out of all the quarterbacks that were taken in this past draft, right? And still probably the least experienced out of all the quarterbacks that was taken in this last draft. So I don't get the mainstream media.
And that's what happens when you fire everyone from ESPN and you decide to hire the computer technician to run everything, right? I mean,
right.
Like, you fire so many great people, and you could have had good people who could have broke the football down and give you the X's and O's on what he did, but instead you pass up on the opportunity and you go and take a shot at him. But hey, players on offense that played well. Ronnie damn Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, he made this damn roster. There's no other way. Walk me. I know you were excited to talk receivers. That's your domain right there. Talk to me about Ronnie Bell, man.
So the biggest trait to be a good receiver, you got to have a short-term memory. And that's what he showed yesterday, last night. He showed after, the drop that turned into an interception for the second week in a row. He showed that he has the ability to block that out and continue to play and perform and help the team win, make plays and things like that. What I really love about Ronnie Bell is he's one speed. He's full speed. Like he doesn't slow down. It's everything's full speed. He catches the ball full speed. He's running back to the ball and he's exploding back out. Right. And he's hard to bring down. Right. He's not a big receiver at all. Big receivers like those aren't even looking to break tackles. Ronnie Bell is trying to. You saw the stiff arm on the sideline. He's trying to. He plays with this monster mentality. Like he's bigger than what he is. And I like that. And I think you need that in the NFL. He's tough. He runs tough. And I heard somebody say yesterday, I forget where I was, like a Golden Tate type of player. And I love that. I love that comparison.
I like that.
I see that. I see that. I've seen it the past 2 preseasons. So I definitely think, he has the ability to, mature and grow into that type of player. if he continues to do what he does. I loved what I saw from him. Not just yesterday. I know he had a tough game last week, but I saw flashes last week as well.
I think my favorite part about Ronnie Bell is his route running right now. I thought he was creating separation like crazy, and it goes to your point on playing at full speed at all times. You're stepping on these DB's toes, making them feel uncomfortable. They're opening the gate, taking off, right? And he's coming back on comeback routes, and he has like 5 yards of separation. Coming back, explode like you said, exploding out. I thought to me, I was like, whoa, like that separation from a rookie is nice to see. I do love the Golden Tate comparison. They do have that smaller body, but feel like they're 6'2", 225, like they can run you over. I'm like, well, okay, I see you. My favorite part about him was his returns. Last week it felt like he was kind of jogging on his returns, not seeing what was there. Last night, he got the ball and it was just going. And to me, I felt like that was his biggest improvement because last week he showed he was a good receiver. This week he showed he has the ability to return punts and kicks. I thought that was nice to see. Ryan, I do like Kyle using Ronnie Bell in that Debo kind of role. Like, hey, I'm going to give you a quick screen and you're going to go because he's hard to tackle. He's a feisty receiver where it's not going to take one dude to bring him down. He's shown that the last couple of weeks. I'm excited to see Ronnie Bell. Now, he's made the case to make the roster. Now, do the Niners keep 5 receivers or do they keep 6?
So who would be the 5? So it'd be, the top 3. So Debo, IU, Jennings.
Ray probably makes the roster in
Ray makes it.
So that's 4. So you either keep Danny Gray and you go 5, or you keep Bell and keep 5, or you keep both of them and go 6.
I think they keep both of them, and that's why I think I saw somebody in the chat say that did Danny Gray get hurt last night?
Yeah, he did. So it looked like it was a collarbone injury. He landed on his collarbone, and he got up and when you break something and you're like, oh damn, it feels weird.
Yeah.
But then he kind of was like, all right, that's good. I'm good, and jogged off. Ended up being ruled out from that game really fast. Usually when they're rolled out fast, it's usually something serious.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan did say that the test results were inconclusive, so that it wasn't a clear image, so they have to redo another image probably today. So we probably should have word from Kyle Shanahan later today when he meets with the media to do his post the next day injury report and stuff. We should probably have word. Hopefully there's not a broken collarbone. Hopefully it's a sprain or something, because man, if he broke his collarbone, that's rough, especially for a young guy who's in training camp has looked really damn good. So, man.
Yeah, so I hopefully he's all good. But I see 6 receivers, and I actually like Danny Gray at kick return. He didn't slow down. He hit the corner on that kick return, and that's kind of what you need. You got to go full speed ahead on kick return. So I kind of like seeing him get a rep there. But I think they keep 6, and I think that's why they were trying Danny Gray at kick return, and maybe have a combination of Ronnie Bell and Danny Gray, returning the kicks and punts while Ray is out. But I just think that speed is too much to give up on just yet, especially from the reports of him having a good camp. He just can't stay healthy, man. And I just hope he can stay healthy, but I just don't think the Niners can give up on his speed and his progress that he made over throughout camp. I don't think they can give up on it just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think they give up on it at all. Just from being at camp, you can see his route running has gone to another level. I felt like last year he didn't know how to use his speed to his advantage. He was more so rounding his route, just coming out of his break, very rounded. You knew he was coming out of breaks. And that was because he thought he could use his speed in the NFL to win. You can, but if you're not using it the right way to make DBs feel like the deception of it, he wasn't pushing vertical, I felt like. So it's like, okay, your speed I'm not worried about your speed. If you're not pushing vertical on me, why should I give you the respect on your speed? And I felt like last year, that's who he was. This year, when I was watching him, he was stepping on DB on Charvarius. There was one route he ran on Charvarius Ward in camp. Stepped on his, literally, I thought he probably did step on Charvarius Ward's toes because he bowed out and then stumbled. Yeah. And Danny Gray was wide open it was like a dig route. So I was like, oh, that was a beautiful route. You finally used So to me, I saw the growth from last year to this year in camp. Um, what I'm most excited about Danny Gray was I did like that return. I said it with
Yeah,
my boy Rohan. We're on our last podcast. I was like, hey, I really want to see Danny Gray. I want to see him return a kick
yeah,
because that speed. It's the way I see it is, and when you have that kind of electric speed, you can change the game with one play. I want the ball in your hands as many times as possible, and since he is receiver 4 on the depth chart, let me see him punt. Like, take a punt return, kick return. He might change the game for us on special teams. Like, just put the ball in his hands. It sucks that he got hurt, but I do love um, taking it. Ronnie Bell taking advantage of Danny Gray. Like hey, it is what it is.
yeah,
Ronnie Bell stepped up, took advantage of it. I felt like Tay Martin, you gotta catch the damn. Hey, I know, no would have been called back.
yeah.
I know it would have been called, but that's for me. NFL teams are still watching you,
Mhm.
even if it's a flag. They're watching you. You were open, drop the ball. That was a concentration drop. Hit his hand, wanted to go upfield.
Yeah, you got to catch those. You got to
Gotta,
catch those. Stick them out. Trust your hands. Catch it first. But you got to catch those. Even though, like you said, it would have been called back, but still, that was a bad drop.
yeah, it was a very bad drop. Anyone else on offense stand out to you in terms of offensive line, running backs, receivers?
So I don't. I mean, he didn't really do anything to make you say wow. But I love how TDP he runs hard. Oh, Jordan Mason too. Sorry,
Yeah,
Jordan Mason is like I don't want to compare him to Marshawn Lynch, but
it's an easy comparison. Like in terms of how they run, and you can't
yeah,
bring. It's an easy comparison, but
he
Marshawn was
runs
different.
angry. Yeah, Marshawn's different. So I'm not comparing Jordan Mason to Marshawn whatsoever, but he runs angry and he does not want to be tackled. And with some better blocking in there where he doesn't have to take hits in the backfield and break 3 4 tackles in the backfield, I think he can, I mean, he's not going to take any carries away from McCaffrey, but I think he still has a role on this team, where it's 4 minute drill, the Niners are trying to run the clock out. I think he still has that role on this team where give it to the bruiser, let Jordan Mason run. But I also like how hard TDP runs. I mean, like I said, he didn't break any runs or anything. I gotta go back to the film and see like the vision and see was he making the right decisions. But he was running hard, full speed straight ahead. So I like what I saw from those two running backs.
It was funny because I had a lot of people giving me hella crap, right? So I after training camp, I was there, and I walked away, and I was like, TDP might be the 49ers' second best running back that is healthy at the moment.
Mhm.
Now Elijah Mitchell is a good running back, but he's never healthy.
Never.
TDP, I personally think the way he's running, his decisiveness, his physicality that he runs with, I felt like he might be the 49ers' second best running back on the roster. I believe he had 4 runs for 22 yards. He had a 15-yard run towards the end of the game, I believe, on that drive for with Trey Lance. So for me, what's interesting, right? And this is going a little back to Trey Lance. So everyone was like, "Oh, Trey Lance is in on the fourth quarter. That means 49ers don't care about him."
Mm-hmm.
TDP was in on the fourth quarter on a big run. Jordan Mason, those are 2 key players for the night.
Mm-hmm.
They care about him. Trust me. They could have let McNichols go the entire time, and McNichols did get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But the run game, I thought the run game was played really well. TDP, I believe he had like 6 yards to carry. Jordan Mason had 3, but I felt like the offensive line wasn't blocking really for him, so it's kind of hard to. Those 3 yards per carry was like earned. Like it was yards after contact. It was earned 3 yards every time.
Yeah.
There was one point where it's funny because I love watching football with my fiance because she'll be like, she knows like a little bit. Like I try to like teach her the game, but
Yeah.
she goes, "Oh my god!" She goes, "That they can't tackle that guy. It's like 10 dudes trying to tackle him on one of the." So like to me, I'm like, it's funny because like it's so obvious. Like it's hard to bring down for him to bring him down. But I think this itchy 95. I think I was just about to hit on this. I love that you brought it up. So I like TDP's runs, but he still needs to improve in pass blocking, and this might be why he doesn't see the field because there was a few times where. For some reason, it's weird because in camp he doesn't block like that. Like he actually squares up with you and like shoulders up and like tries to hit you. Instead, he was like lunging, and I'm like, "Hey, that's gonna get your QB killed, bro. Don't do that." So that needs to improve big time.
Yeah, and those are the things like, and that's why I want to go back and watch the film. Those are the things that I want to want to see on film and see like that could be the reason why he's not getting any reps. But going back to the fourth quarter and having ultimately that's your 2 and 3 running backs in the game in the fourth quarter because Elijah Mitchell is not healthy, and I don't know when he's coming back or whatever, but that's your 2 and 3 running backs in the fourth quarter. So, but I do want to go back, watch the film on these dudes, the running backs, because as far as just running the ball, I thought those two ran hard, and like you said, Jordan Mason was like a man. He was like he saw red. He was not getting tackled by one dude whatsoever. So I was excited to see those dudes.
Yeah, that was exciting to see. And then on the defensive side of the ball, to start the game, I thought Clean Farrell was. I thought he was something. That like I was like, wait, hold up. You weren't. And what's weird is I think he might just be a guy that plays much better in games because when I saw him in camp, I was like, whoo, if that's the dude opposite of Bosa, good luck because he was not doing much in camp. I was like, all right, well, guess we're gonna have to see what happens. The last 2 preseason games, he's probably been the best defensive lineman on the field for the 49ers.
No, hands down. And he's so versatile. So he can play inside as a 3 technique. His main position is that 6 tech, beat up on the tight end, set the edge. But man, he showed some pass rushing ability as well, and that's something that I didn't think he had in him. So, the defensive line coach, he has that track record of getting these dudes right who were high first round draft picks who didn't exactly pan out, but these past 2 games, it looks like Cleveland could be a dude who, I mean, Drake Jackson has been hurt, right? Like, he may have taken over that DN spot opposite of Bosa, the way he's been playing these past two preseason games. So I'm excited what the Niners have in Cleveland and what he was able to show so far this preseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And it felt like the 49ers, with like watching everything. Cleveland Farrell played well. I felt like Drake Jackson, it was the injury that he had. I believe he had a hamstring injury recently. Came back. I didn't see him play. I could be wrong. I didn't see him play
either.
It might be a precautionary reason. Like, hey, you just came back from practice to practice. We'll let you go to the third game. Chris Kasarik, his development with the defensive lineman is insane. They signed Ty McGill like last season, like week 8. The dude since they signed him has been solid. Like to me, he played really well. I was surprised Javon Hargrave played.
Yeah, you can see that bull in him, man. That line together when they all get healthy.
Yeah, that he played well. He had a pressure. Ended up having a tackle on Russell Wilson, but you just see the power that he presents from his explosiveness. His get off is there. I'm excited to see what he provides to the team because in the run game he might not be the best run defender, but if you put him next to Bosa and Armstead, they might cover up that run ability, defense. Guys that I thought stood out. Hawkins again, I thought he had a good game. I just love how he plays with the mentality, and it kind of reminds me of that I don't give a fuck mentality.
Yeah,
like and that's what I love about him because when he sees things, he doesn't care. He's flying to the ball. Like hey, if I miss, I miss. I'm missing going 100 miles per hour. I ain't missing going 50. So for me, I really like how he plays. I thought the young linebackers, those dudes balled out. I was glad, and I said it the other day. I was like, they need to start playing before Demetrius Flanagan-Fells and Curtis Robinson. I love that right away. As soon as they got off the field, or as soon as Fred Warner, I believe, was on the field, as soon as he got off the field, Jalen Graham and D. Winters came in. I was like, thank goodness you didn't put DFF and Curtis Robinson on the field before them because those 2 dudes earned those reps.
And you can. So I know they had Graham as the middle linebacker, and you can just feel his size and his length. You can just see the way he shoots the gaps. And then you see D. Winters, man. His speed shows up on the tape, on the game. You can see he flies. I know he had that forced fumble, man, but he just flies out of nowhere, and that speed you can't teach, right? You can't teach that speed, and if you line up one of those two by Fred Warner and Greenlaw, they'll just play that much better with those veterans right there. and not expecting much from them, man, I think they have to seriously consider starting one of those dudes at the Sam, which I think Winters fits better at the Sam position, with his speed. But I think you have to seriously consider starting one of those dudes at the Sam position.
And I think it might be a changeup because if I go back to the Raiders game, I think D Winters was at the mic,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Graham was at the will position. So he was playing a little bit more off ball. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I have the memory of Graham at the will spot a good amount. They rotated a little bit during that Raiders game. This time they didn't. I felt like Graham is more your mic, like your true
Yeah,
mic,
tall,
and
able to see over the line. Yeah.
yeah, like so I felt like he did a phenomenal job at Mike, and I just love, like you're saying, the speed of Winters to be with his closing speed alongside Fred and Dre. Like that's probably the fastest linebacking trio in the league, like by far, and it's not close.
Mm-hmm.
So you put him there. It's crazy how the 49ers keep hitting on late round picks, man. Like it's insane. Like it's, to me, what they're doing, and that's a shout out. I'm not going to give it to John Lynch because that's the scouting department.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, no, that's the scouting department. That's guys like Adam Peters who do a lot of the extra, the dirty work that they don't get credit for. So I'm going to give it to those guys, just the scouting department. They do a phenomenal job in the later rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely have much more say in those later rounds, and that's like you said, that's their picks. That 1 through 3, it's probably more so Kyle and John, but those later rounds, yeah, and they're hitting on them, so they need more say. So
yeah, they need a lot more say because when you're missing on third round picks in the early rounds, you could probably have better players. Your roster could be even deeper. So taking a look at the cornerback position, right? We got to see Ambry play with the ones inside the slot. We saw Domino Lenore play outside, moved inside to the slot a little bit. Isaiah Oliver struggled again. In my opinion, I thought he struggled. Once I watched the film again, might be different. But I know for sure there was one play right away. I was like, bro, you cannot miss that tackle. It's 3rd and 7. It was like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5, or something like that. 1-on-1 with the receiver, ability to make. It might have been a tight end. Ability to make the tackle and kill the drive. Instead, misses the tackle. Killed opportunity. They pick up the first down. They go down and I believe they score that drive. So it's like, hey, those are what piss defense coordinators off. Like if you like with the 49ers, you don't got to be a superstar. They already have their stars. Just do your role and don't do it wrong. Like that's all they ask for. And he might not be starting this year for us.
Yeah, I 100% agree. He had a rough outing, and I was able to see the film for the Oakland Raiders. I was able to see that film. He had a rough outing there. And from the initial looks, I wasn't able to see the film yet, but from the initial looks, he looks like he had another rough outing. And that play stuck out like a sore thumb because, like you said, he's known to be a good tackler at that nickel position. And if that's your strength, you have to make that play. Even if it's not your strength, you still have to make that play in space to force the punt. And he struggled. And at this point, I think, he could be possibly fighting for a roster spot, depending on how many DBs they want to keep, and depending on how they actually feel about him. But I don't think he ends up starting this year. I don't.
I think you have a good point in terms of making the roster. I don't know if the 49ers really care about the money. He might be even a trade candidate. The guy like, you know what, hey, let's not cut him. Let's actually try to trade him. If Deshaun Jamison or someone else, they feel like, hey, this guy is playing well, they'll keep him over you. Like they don't care. They don't mind. Yeah. The fact that Ambry Thomas came along, that is a huge sign for the 49ers because now you can put Demo inside, Ambry Thomas inside, and now you kind of have a good cornerback room. And you see, even though Ambry Thomas, he gave up a big pass. But outside of that, I felt he played well. And that pass does hurt him a little bit in terms of like after watching that game, you're like, okay, for the most part, he didn't do anything like negative. But once you give up that play, it's like that's a huge negative because that's probably a score if the Broncos receiver doesn't, I believe he might have hurt himself on that play in the end zone, like he
Mm.
kind of cramped up or something, held onto the ball. If he doesn't cramp up or anything like that doesn't happen, ball gets flipped to the ref, they spike it, they kill it, they get a field goal, possibly even a touchdown.
Yeah.
Um,
And what and what makes that play 100? Everybody gets beat deep, right? But what makes that play 100 times worse is the time, the distance they need to get a touchdown or field goal range. Like you can't get beat deep on that situation, and that just makes that play just 100 times worse than what it is. But other than that, like if you're not doing anything wrong, you're not really showing up on plays, and that's kind of a good thing for a corner. And I didn't
mhm.
see anything negative outside of that play with that down and distance and things like that. So um, I got to go back and watch the film. It seems like he did pretty good, and the Niners need that from him. That way they are able to move Ambry or Demo inside, and possibly Zero inside. Have a conversation with him being able to move inside outside. Um, but yeah, I think he's come along. I kind of written him off. This summer I thought he was gone. I thought this was his last year as a Niner, but he's proven me wrong, and that's good.
Absolutely. You mentioned Agent Zero, which is Samuel Womack. He had a hell of a game, I felt like. I
Hmm.
felt like his game, and it sucks because with all these young DBs playing really well under Steve Wilkes, like, this is nice to see because there's a lot of times you have a lot of young DBs that never develop, and they're being developed, and it's like right in front of our eyes. It's like, whoa, like, hey, we thought cornerback was a like a depth issue for us for a little bit. It was like, all right, and then now we're looking at it, it's like, hey, we're kind of deep at corner. Like, it's nice to see. I thought Samuel Womack had a hell of a game. Deshaun Jameson, man, he might have hurt his chances to make the roster
Yeah,
with that fumble. Like,
yeah.
if like, and the reason why I say that is because you're a back end of the roster kind of guy.
Mhm.
You got to be someone that could provide. Like, what else could you provide for me? If you're
Right.
the fifth dude on a corner, you're not getting in during the game. Fifth or sixth guy, you're not getting in. What else can you provide for me?
Mhm.
That muff punt, that was hard to see. He might have hurt his chances. I still think he has a good chance to make a case for himself. But man, that was hard to see because you kind of see like, whoop, I have Ronnie Pell. That he's a good receiver too, where I could play
Yeah.
him. So it's
Yeah.
like, man,
Yeah. No, and I agree. And it was like it was night and day from the types of returns he had against the Raiders to now. Like he looked like a natural back there. He made some good return yards, nice cut up the field on a kick return. But he showed patience. And then you see the muff punt, and not only did he muff it, he tried to pick the ball up instead of just drop. Make sure we have the possession still. So yeah, that was tough. That was tough to see, tough to watch. Because I definitely thought he was making somewhat of a name for himself. Um, but yeah, when you have Ronnie Bell playing like that on the other side, and making plays and coming back after mistakes and able to return kicks and punts, that doesn't bode well for 22. But who also I like at that corner position, who plays nickel, Quantrez Knight. He came up and he plays physical. I like it. I like him a lot. I got to go back and see some more film on him. But what my initial reaction on how he played, he's physical. He comes up and hit. He was making tackles. So I like him as well.
absolutely. Make sure, and for everyone that's tuning in, make sure you guys drop a question. We'll go ahead and get to the questions after. Make sure you guys subscribe to Josh Harper's YouTube channel, which is Josh Harper TV. It is in the link. Make sure you guys go hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Let's get his subscribers up. He too good of a talent in terms of knowing what he has mentally for the game of football. You don't want to miss out on that because when he does talk, you want to listen. Um, for me, I do agree. I think it's funny because I liked Quantrez Knight his rookie year.
Mhm.
I thought he was better than Hawkins his rookie year, which was interesting. But now it's like under what Steve Wilkes is wanting to do, actually, who fits better is Hawkins over Quantrez Knight because last year under D'Amico and what he wanted to do, the versatility and moving Quantrez around, kind of like he had him playing that Jimmy Ward role where he could play safety, move down into the nickel, but then during the coverage, like to disguise coverages during camp and stuff, he would end up having Quantrez Knight be the deep third. So it's like he was able to move around so well, and now seeing him like at the back end of the depth chart, I'm like, wait, this dude last year had a really good camp, a really good preseason. Hawkins is balling out, having a really good camp, really good preseason, and the only thing I could tie it together to is scheme fit.
Yeah,
I
man.
feel, it feels like the Hawkins fits what Wilkes wants to do better.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Like you said, Knight really stood out to me last year in preseason games. He really stood out. He looked like somebody that was coming along and could possibly, make the team in like a year or two, right? But like you said, like Hawkins has stuck out. Like he's flying all over the field. He's coming up making tackles. He's on special teams. You can see him on special teams. You can see him on defense, and he's always around the ball. So you might be right, but what I just don't know. Like we have so many DBs back there. Like it's going to be tough for the both of them to make this team, but I definitely see them as practice squad candidates for sure. Hawkins and Knight, and depending on what you do with the nickel that we paid, depending on what we do with him, one of them may have a chance to make the team.
I think I personally would keep Hawkins over George Odom.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
if I'm being 100% real, like so when I'm looking at it, it's like okay, George Odom is a great special teamer, right? Like that's what he is. As a safety, I mean you might be good around the box, but you cannot tell me what Hawkins is doing around the line of scrimmage. It's not impressive. Like so there was even against the Raiders, one of the best plays that stood out. Like other people might chart it to other plays.
Mhm.
The best play was they're in the goal line, shoots a gap, completely kills what the Raiders were planning on doing at the goal line. For me, that was super impressive. And then going back to yesterday, another shoot the gap along the line of scrimmage, shoots the gap, kills their play. For me, what Hawkins is doing, I think he's making this roster.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, Odom is great on special teams, but Hawkins shows up on special teams. He's out there making plays on special teams as well. So that should just bode well for his chances to make the team over Odom. And Odom is getting paid a lot more, for to be a special teams guy. I can see Hawkins, making that team and becoming their one of their special team aces as well. Uh, I'll feel much more comfortable with Hawkins if one of our DBs was to get one of our safeties was to get hurt. I would feel much more comfortable with Hawkins out there over Odom.
So would I. You ever seen that video where it's more of a gif where they put the water, like he has the water bottle on the table, dude says something, knocks it over, and takes off. Well, I'm about to do exactly that gif right now. Taylor Hawkins has been playing better than Jair Brown. Hey, from what I've been seeing, I'm gonna be honest. That's what I see right now. Now, Hawkins isn't in his second year, so he has that advantage. Jair Brown had a phenomenal play, not a game-saving tackle, but a touchdown-saving tackle, which was phenomenal. You got to see the young rookie's explosive speed, even though it's a 4.6. Sure, that 40 time don't matter.
Yeah,
that was nice. But besides that,
Hawkins
is playing better.
That's a bold statement. I mean, but I can't disagree. Hawkins has been one of the better defenses in these preseason games on the Niners team. So I can't disagree. I would say, let 27 get into himself, it's his rookie year.
No, yeah, no, and I'm not, and it wasn't more a shot at Jair.
No,
Brown.
No, I know that.
Because it's Jair Brown. He's a young rookie, a third-round draft pick. I think I really liked him coming out. So it's like I'm not trying to knock him.
Right.
If we're being honest, like if I'm gonna be honest, I'm looking at Hawkins. I'm like, hey man, he's playing better than Jair Brown. Like, how can you not keep him?
He's all over the field. Coming up hitting too.
Oh yeah, and he's coming in with bad intentions. So let's get real quick to the chat, real quick. Couple questions, real quick. Where was Robert Beal Jr. last night? He was injured. Probably plays in the third preseason game. Hopefully he shows something. If not, most likely doesn't make this roster.
Yeah. And speaking of Beal, I like the get off of Austin Bryant. He
looks good.
Yeah, I love his get off. You can see his get off, but it's just like he's not physical. Like he has to complete it. Like turn that corner. I know it's easier said than done because if he was able to do that, he'll be a rich person right now, right? But you got to finish it. But I like what I saw from Austin Bryant. Get off,
especially that get off is so it's crazy because at first I was watching it when I was watching the Raiders and I was like, what the hell? Why am I watching Ebukam? Like I'm not watching, and like I was like, I had to look at my thing. I'm like, am I watching the wrong game? Like am I watching last year's game? And I was like, oh no, hey, this dude's athletic. He got speed. Okay, I can see Chris Cassera working with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to both channels. Again, Josh Harper's YouTube channel is in the description. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. No, CMC didn't play. I'm excited to see him play next week because it does sound like it's a dress rehearsal. Platform 246. This is an interesting comment. Not really a question, it's a comment, but top of the morning, Trey Lance plays with our starters, 38 points per game. I'm gonna before Josh goes because I know Josh got that that grin like he wanted to go, but I'm gonna go on and say right away, I think that is a very very bold statement, and I disagree with it.
My turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, look. I like it. I like the statement. I think it could be that. 38 points is a lot of points, but I think it could be that we see that Trey Lance isn't completely ready, but we see that talent and see what he could be capable of. So I think possibly down the road maybe, but yeah, right now he's still too raw, and he still makes those mental mistakes at times. So I will have to disagree right now as well.
I could see 38 is kind of high, but I could see him and that offense scoring like 27, 28 points a game. And the reason is because of the talent around. Like they would be able to help. Like, and I felt like I said it about Brock. I'm gonna say it if Trey was a starter too. The talent's gonna help carry you.
Yeah, like
it's gonna ease your way into being a legit NFL quarterback. So I think he could get to like 27, 28. I mean, look what Jimmy did last year, which scoring 26 point something with that offense. He looked the best he's ever looked. So I think 27, 28 points is capable, but 38 points is like you're scoring every drive a touchdown. Yeah. Like for the most part, you don't see. And the reason why I think I don't agree at all is because Patrick Mahomes ain't even doing that.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like he might do it every once in a while in a game or two. But if Mahomes ain't scoring 38 points a game, Trey Lance definitely ain't scoring 38 points a game.
Definitely the best quarterback in the league. And then we got to look at how is Kyle going to call the plays for him, right? Is he going to handcuff him? Is he going to run left, run right all game? So that you got to take that into consideration as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hawkins played fast in college. Shout out to Emiliano. Been in the chat for some time, man. Appreciate you. Emiliano goes on and says Hawkins had played fast in college too. This isn't surprising. Wishing the young man well. He actually did play really good in college. I was surprised he wasn't drafted. Very he doesn't make mistakes. Like he's a guy who I'm not going to make mistakes. I'm going to do my job, and he shows up. So I'm excited to see him next week. I think the Niners are going to start.
What college did he go to?
I believe it was Iowa State. I could be wrong, but I believe it was Iowa State. I could be wrong though. Let me double check because I don't like that. No, I'm completely wrong. I'm thinking of someone else. He was at San Diego State. It looks like.
Oh, okay.
I thought he was at Iowa State. I know. Last year we had a DB that was from Iowa State.
Oh, San Diego State.
Yeah, that's crazy. San Diego State be pushing off some dogs. Even last year, the Niners, shout out to, I believe it's Alubi from last year, linebacker we had. Ended up with the Colts. He's probably going to start with the Colts. Undrafted free agent. Niners signed him. Sagoon Alubi. Shout out to him. He gave. It's funny because last year I was teaching last year at elementary school. He shouted out our class. Gave the school a little quick shout out. So I thought that was cool of him to do. But he'd probably be starting for the Colts as a linebacker. So that's cool to see. I mean, San Diego State's pushing out dogs.
Yeah, they play hard. San Diego State players play hard.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because they might end up being in like the Pac-12 or whatever it ends up being. they need to be in a higher conference. I don't think they need to be in the conference there. The way they
Yeah.
play really hard. They get dogs, and they're coached very well.
Good location. Who wouldn't want to go play in San Diego?
Absolutely, great weather year round. A lot of things to do. Shout out to Eric Dane. Last year, the 49ers had a number one defense, both in yards and points allowed. Great defense means shorter fields and more opportunities on offense. One of the reasons they scored 33 points, and that's a great
Hmm.
um, thing because I know you and I have talked about it before. Shorter field does mean more points and the higher percentage of you being able to score a touchdown. And that's just like a breakdown on if you guys wanted to look at it per yard, like per wherever you're at on the field, there's a percentage on the likelihood of you scoring a touchdown. So definitely something that I look at. Defense getting the ball a lot. Like, how does defense play with Trey? Like, would that be like a reason?
Mm.
But we also have shout out to. Oh, it looks like they're having a conversation in there. QB
Nice.
doesn't QB doesn't play by himself. It helps to be have a great defense, weapons on the field like Kittle and Debo. Yeah, they don't play
Yep.
by themselves, but hey,
100%.
before we get out of here, I do want to talk. What are your thoughts on Steve Wilkes being in the booth rather than on the field?
Um, so I mean, as a X's and O's, I mean, I like it. You're able to see the field. You're able to see the field better. So in that aspect of things, yes, I like it. You're able to make adjustments and on the fly. But as far as like, I forget. I seen it on Twitter. I see so much stuff on Twitter, and I agree with this statement. To see the defensive coordinator on the field and just having that juice, creating that juice for your defense, I think that goes a long way. So yes, X's and O's, I like it, but we had two energetic defensive coordinators the past couple of years, and I think that actually bodes well for the defense. You're able to see your coach going crazy on the sidelines. That's gonna make you go crazy on the sidelines, and just have that energy level on 100. So um man, it's 50-50 for me.
See, I 100% agree with you because like X's and O's, like okay, that's cool, but what happens when you're going through a rough patch? Like,
Mhm.
and there's some games where you would see D'Amico Ryans, Robert Saleh, they would huddle up that defense and like, hey, like let's get this shit together. Who do you lean on to do that? Chris Kaserik, like the D line coach, like he has that energy. Like, does he have to be the guy that provides that energy? But even then, if Steve Wilkes was on the sideline, he's not an energetic coach like that.
So stay up in the box. Yep.
Yeah, so that's why I like him going back to his element because like, hey, you know what? I'm more comfortable from coaching from up here. Um, but I think this is the point where Fred Warner has to take on his leadership to another level.
Yeah.
You got to be the guy that has that energy on the sideline. You're the one huddling them up, giving them that pep talk, or giving them whatever you need to give your defense right at the moment. Because back in the day when we're watching not Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman,
Yeah.
their defensive coordinators didn't have to do that shit for them. You
Mhm.
seen Patrick Willis go up to the defense and he would rip their ass. Like,
Mhm.
he got on him. So I'm like, oh, that's the kind of guy that Fred Warner kind of has to be now that his defensive coordinators have left.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure, 100%.
so I feel I'm interested on how it works, how it plays out. Emiliano, yes. So this is I love this conversation
I
because
love it.
so the great Mexican food in San Diego, but I don't care what anyone says. The best
Bay
Mexican
Area.
food.
Say it.
Oh no,
Say it.
bro, it's the Central Valley, bro.
Oh,
Bro,
my wife is gonna agree with you because she's from the Central Valley. She agree with you.
oh see, bro, like I swear, like everywhere, like Central Valley has much better food, Mexican food wise than
Really?
and then yeah, absolutely, like bro,
So,
like if there's some good food out here, even but like I'm not gonna go to like the known restaurant. I'm going to the mom
yeah,
and pop shop.
yeah, you
I'm
got
going
to.
to so like for Mexican food. I know you're from like the Stockton. Like you were
Mhm.
from the Stockton area,
Yeah,
so a little bit. So they have good food. They got good taco trucks.
taco trucks.
The
Yeah.
taco trucks are good.
So the best
Um,
taco trucks I had was in Stockton and then in Oakland. Oakland, they have a taco truck. Every time I go in, fly into Oakland, I have to hit up the taco truck, and I forget the name of it. But I always go to that taco truck. It's like the best and they don't have good Mexican food in Vegas, so I'll be
yeah.
asked out. I'll be asked out. So every time, yeah, I
Oh,
love Central Valley. Go ahead, go ahead. I
Vegas
think I know what you're gonna say.
tacos El Gordo.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say
Tacos El
that.
Gordo.
They got
That's a,
what's the
they're
meat?
they're legit. They got pastor. They
Pastor
got
El Pastor
pastor.
is the
It's
best
the best there.
taco I've probably ever had. So
No, yeah. So like it's crazy. So Central Valley right now, right? Well, Modesto area, series, probably familiar with the
Turlock
area.
has
Like,
a taco truck there too.
so we've been having Al Pastor guys set up.
Mhm.
They're setting up tents. This is a funny conversation. We go from football to talking tacos. So they have a tent. Like they set up their tents and they have like the Al Pastor, like the rotating thing. They're cutting it for you, right?
Mhm.
Oh my! Some of the best tacos I've had recently are from them. Like, and it's not even a taco truck. They're just pop up shops real quick
And just boom.
and fire. I don't. People were like, oh yeah, nah. People gotta try Central Valley's Mexican food because like it's a lot better
It's
than the
good.
Bay Area, in my opinion.
It's good. No, for sure. No, it's good. I'm not for sure. I like Central Valley, Bay Area, Stockton better than the LA Mexican food. And that's just me.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just me.
LA Mexican food, in my opinion, man, I gotta get this. One time I went to a burrito spot right there in LA,
Mhm.
and my boy had hyped this place up, right? He was like, oh, this place is hella good. I'm like, all right, cool. I go and I start eating my burrito. When I get burritos, I get Supremes. I like the sour cream. I like
All of
the
that in there,
works.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I like the works. I start eating my burrito, and me and my fiance look at each other. I'm like, this burrito's good. Like, what's it missing? And like, I'm like, we're both gonna figure it out.
With
This is
rice,
hella
with
funny. Had no beans.
no beans.
I was like, what the? I was like, I'm over here eating a burrito and it has no beans. It has like, I'm like, oh, that's a mid. I was like, don't. And I told my boys, like, don't ever hype up the
No,
burrito spot ever again like that. Like that's disrespectful.
I'm over the Southern California Mexican food, honestly, personally.
Absolutely. So Emiliano goes Stockton got that dope taco truck that parked near I-5 freeway.
Is that
It's
near like the 20 I think it's like the 24-hour fitness,
I
like
believe it is.
yeah, right over there. Yeah, no, it is. It's good. It's
See,
good
my
for sure.
my dad worked in Stockton for like 25 years or 20
Mhm.
something years, and so every time I'd go out there to have lunch with him, we'd always go to a taco spot right there, a taco truck, and they knew him like on a first name basis. He's like, I'm here on a regular. They're that taco truck, and that's why I do give Stockton their props for their Mexican food because they do got good ass Mexican
They
food.
do.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and like, oh nah, but that's so shit. Like my area has nah. Stockton got bomb ass
Oh yeah,
Mexican
yeah.
food
That area
for
too
sure.
though. Yeah, it's my favorite. So I
Yeah,
love Mexican
absolutely.
food too.
So that's it. We went on our little food rant after talking
I love
football.
food too. So
Same, same. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Make sure y'all subscribe to both channels. Make sure you guys go to Josh Harper TV on YouTube. It's in the link. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button on both channels. Don't miss any of Josh's content, man. Like we need to get his subscriber count way up. This guy knows very very good
and
football.
vice versa, you too.
I
So
appreciate that, my man. Anything you want to plug outside of your YouTube channel?
no, I mean y'all go follow Marco as well. The ones who came over from my channel, go like and subscribe. Great dude. Knows football like crazy. And then no, I got my bottles in the work, man. So I got these kid bottles, these kid sports bottles for every sport. So that, they're coming soon. You guys stay tapped in. And they'll be here any minute. So I'll be able to plug those and things like that and let you guys know where to grab them. But no, that's it for me.
For sure. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Peace out.
Peace.